With the release of chapter 283, we've been able to see the fullest display of Isagi's newest awakening, facing off against BLUELOCK's current number 1, Rin Itoshi. However, with his recent performance, many fans are actually saying that Isagi's newest evolution is actually useless, as Rin did manage to beat him in a one-on-one. Now, for those who do believe that, I not only will be explaining why Isagi's newest evolution wasn't useless, but why this awakening will lead Isagi to being the new Egoist League champion. Before I do explain though, I want to mention my Discord server, that being the new Egoist Geeks. There, myself and other BLUELOCK content creators engage with our community about all things BLUELOCK. It's also the best place to get information regarding the BLUELOCK New Generation movie that my team and I are working on. So if you are interested in learning more, you can click the link down below to join and become a part of that community. More info on this project at the end of the video. And like in all of my videos, spoilers for BLUELOCK chapter 283, and if you aren't caught up yet, I would suggest you click off this video now because you will be spoiled. Starting with the first claim of Isagi's newest evolution being useless. How? Is it because he wasn't able to 1v1 Rin? How is that different from any other point in the series? Looking back at every instance of Isagi versus Rin, when it came down to the 1v1, Rin beat Isagi every single time. The only exception was his direct back heel shot, and even then, that wasn't a direct 1v1 confrontation like Rin versus Sai or Nagi versus Isagi. But disregarding that for right now, we should start with reviewing Isagi's newest evolution, that way we can determine whether it was or wasn't useless. Now to save you all the headache of me explaining what this ability is, if you want an in-depth breakdown, you can go check out my Omnivision video here where I explain pretty much all of what this ability is and can do. To keep it short and simple though, this ability is an awakened form of metavision that manifests while Isagi is in flow. Think of it as his true flow state like what Rin and Bachira have. It appears to us the viewers as puzzle pieces expanding from Isagi's eyes, covering the front of his face. His hair and kit also begin to blow, with his hair taking on a whiter aesthetic. This ability allows Isagi to analyze all aspects of information and understand them at such an alarmingly fast rate that he is able to analyze and predict the actions of unpredictable players. Now that you understand what this ability can do, let's take a look at the moments where it's manifested. The first time it appeared was in chapter 274 after Rin had passed Isagi with the cross elastico nutmeg, where Isagi then challenges Rin, stating that his ego, while not the same as his, shares his ambition. As he declares himself to be the genius of adaptability, Isagi enters his true flow state, awakening this ability. This allowed Isagi to position himself where Rin envisioned Sai's illusion, allowing for Isagi to challenge Rin again. However, after reaching this spot, Isagi's ability vanished and was replaced by his standard metavision pattern. We see this ability awaken again in chapter 282 after Isagi abandons all of his fixations to find his true desire as a soccer player. He discards his rivalry with Rin, his ill will towards Kaiser, and his admiration for Noah. This is what allowed Isagi to awaken this ability again and enter his true state of flow, as his current challenge to conquer isn't a player, it's simply the game itself. This ability allowed for Isagi to rush towards the most dangerous point on the pitch, which was just in front of Rin, preparing himself to challenge the destructive monster in a 1v1 fight. Now going into the most recent chapter being chapter 283, this is where the details of Isagi's evolution being useless come from. Looking at the beginning of the chapter, Isagi and Rin begin to match up against each other, Isagi with Omnivision and Rin in his destroyer mode. Isagi and Rin go at it, with Isagi sticking out a leg to block Rin, however Rin reads Isagi and goes to the right. This allowed for Rin to beat Isagi and take a shot towards the net. Now given everything I just said, it would appear that Isagi's evolution was useless. There was literally no difference in play between Rin scoring his destructive volley and this play here. So why is this ability not useless? Well, with all the information I said, I did leave out some crucial information. So let's take a look back at it again. Looking at the beginning of the chapter where Rin and Isagi begin to face off, we learn that there are 10 seconds left on the star change system. Going into the actual 1v1, the events are the same. Rin reads Isagi and takes a shot. However, Isagi said that he was wanting this to happen. Isagi says, "I'm simply a sacrificial pawn in this play," as we see Kaiser come in to stop Rin's shot. Isagi's plan was to force Rin to shoot, that way Kaiser could come in to block the shot. And by those standards, Isagi did technically defeat Rin. Do you need more evidence for me to prove this? Sure, I got you. From the previous events in the story, we know that metavision isn't enough to be able to predict the playstyle and movements of Rin when he is in flow. This was shown in chapter 273 where both Isagi and Kaiser couldn't keep up despite both players possessing metavision. Another factor to consider was the star change system. We learned that there were only 10 seconds remaining on the star change system. Isagi, knowing this, formulates his plan around his vision being the only weapon possible to defeat Rin. Going into his steps themselves, Isagi intentionally stuck his leg out to Rin's left, forcing Rin to go to the right. This was because with Omnivision's abilities, Isagi can view the most dangerous spots on the field as proven in chapter 275, meaning out of all the possible directions that Rin could have gone, it was more likely or unpredictable that Rin was going to go to the left, which is why Isagi chose to block it. Another factor that Isagi considered in his plan was that Rin intentionally seeked him out for a 1v1. This was shown because again, Rin could have entered the emptier space on the left, however he chose to pursue Isagi towards his right. And with this, Isagi does have a confirmation as to Rin's state of mind and the intention behind his plays, to destroy him personally. With Isagi now blocking the more irrational route, Rin chooses to go towards the right because it was the most available space to destroy Isagi from his current position. And Isagi, knowing he couldn't beat Rin in a 1v1, forcing Rin into a position that would make him believe he defeated Isagi was his next best strategy. But why would Isagi want Rin to shoot? Why would he want him to go to the right? He's essentially gambling that Kaiser's gonna show up. And yes, while that may be true, it does make sense. When looking at it from a face down angle, Rin had two possible options: left or right. With Rin going to the left, that would be the most irrational option that he would usually take. But with Isagi blocking that route, it forced Rin to go to the right. And because Rin is so hellbent on destroying Isagi, he doesn't think rationally enough to consider an alternative option. Speaking of rationality, if going left would be the irrational route, going right would be the rational route, wouldn't it? That is exactly the point. We know that Metavision can't view the irrational or unpredictable plays, but it can read the rational ones. By sacrificing himself to force Rin into the more rational space, Kaiser is able to then see this with Metavision to block his shot. In the instance that Isagi made Rin go left, Kaiser wouldn't have been able to stop him from shooting. However, because he went to a closer angle, Kaiser was able to move into position. Now, if you simply view this as me making stuff up or just coping, Rin himself literally states that Isagi let himself be devoured. This statement alone proves that Isagi's newest evolution wasn't useless. You fans just had your expectations way too high, expecting Isagi to be able to 1v1 Rin. But there's no way Isagi would have been able to beat Rin in a 1v1, considering the drastic gap in physical abilities. My final point that proves that Isagi's newest evolution wasn't useless comes from the actual results of the play. With Kaiser, Isagi, and Gagamaru stopping Rin with the ball being sent out of bounds, Noah and Loki are both going to be subbed off because of the star change system. By sacrificing himself to have Kaiser and Gagamaru stop Rin, it puts himself into a better position to win after the Master Strikers have been removed from the pitch. Given everything I just stated, that is exactly why Isagi's newest evolution wasn't useless. But with the events of this chapter, how is Isagi going to become number 1? Well, the most obvious answer is by scoring. Isagi scoring a goal is the only factor that will allow Isagi to surpass Rin in value, especially considering that Rin has a 48 million lead against his current value. Now, scoring a goal will be what allows Isagi to surpass Rin. However, there are other factors that contribute towards this that exponentially increase Isagi's chances. The first factor is Isagi's twin gun volley. Isagi's twin gun volley was undoubtedly a world-class play, and is also Isagi's second world-class weapon. The debut of this ability plus the assist from Kunigami easily boasts Isagi's value as a player. Getting Kunigami, a player who refused to play with anyone, come to assist him, along with outplaying BLUELOCK's number 1 with a new weapon that has never been seen before, that will easily shoot his value up. The second factor is his overall performance and impact on the game. Throughout the entire game, Isagi has been consistently proving that he is on Kaiser's level, at least from the perspective of BLUELOCK TV fans. We as readers know that Kaiser is better than Isagi in terms of individual abilities, but when you give Isagi players like Corona and Hiyori, of course he's going to look superior. Isagi even matched up against Rin before, where they fought at a standstill until Nanase and Corona showed up, or a simple plan of hotline led Isagi to victory. Overall, his performances in this game are some of the best he's had in the NEL, specifically because of the situation regarding Kaiser's mental state and the high quality of allies that he has at his disposal. The third factor is Rin's playstyle. While this isn't necessarily something that will shoot Isagi's value up, it will be something that negatively impacts Rin's value. We see with Rin's style of play for the first half of the match that he was mostly stuck to defense. I mean, with both Kaiser and Isagi acting as equally powerful forces on offense, what, did you expect fucking Choppy to stop him? Or better yet, Debussy? And when going into Rin's offensive plays, aside from his very first attack, they have mostly been flow-related advances. But why is this a bad thing? Well, Rin, as we know, plays very unpredictable and is also not very easy to satisfy. We see in chapter 273 that Rin had the opportunity to score a goal, as both Kaiser and Isagi couldn't keep up, and Gagamaru wasn't prepared or aware as to where he would shoot. And despite this, he decided to rebuild his play simply because he thought he could do better. Even Loki comments on this and says, if this were a real game, you would be banned for life. life. And I know that players like Luki obviously have some pull with the clubs that they play for, but I'm not sure that his word would be enough to get the club owner to adjust Rin's bid. I mean, if he would be banned from an official match for doing this play, I'm fairly certain that club owners would not want him on their team. Seeing Rin abandon this goal scoring opportunity simply because he could score a different way is incredibly ridiculous, at least from an owner's perspective, especially when your team is losing, with one goal being the possible decider between victory and defeat. And sure, he scored his goal eventually, but was his volley goal something that the club owners would regard as incredibly impressive? I would say that his goal against Ubers was more insane, so I doubt that this goal alone would give him much of an increase. Plus, the majority of his other contributions during the game were on defense, which don't really equate to much considering that Rin is playing as a center forward. And the final thing I would say that gives Isagi an edge when it comes to becoming number 1 would be his chemical reaction with Kaiser. Before the game even began, Blue Lock TV fans were talking all about how they would want to see Kaiser and Isagi together, and that even club owners would consider them to be an unstoppable duo. From the public's perspective, this moment in chapter 263 would appear that Kaiser and Isagi are beginning to work with each other. Hell, even Hiyori comments on it. This was further supported in chapter 269, where Isagi and Kaiser both break past the PhD defense. And finally, it's fully established in this most recent chapter with Kaiser and Isagi forming a chemical reaction together to stop Rin. This moment here is exactly what club owners were waiting for, and now it's finally happened. So of course Isagi is going to get a huge increase in bid value. However, the biggest factor is actually scoring a goal. Sure, Isagi will still get a good increase in value due to his performance with all of these statements that I have mentioned, but I'm not sure those factors alone could contribute Isagi to becoming the new Egoist League champion unless he's able to score a goal. It's even more unlikely if Rin is the one to score again and they lose that way. That's also what makes this final run so important. There are no more Master Strikers, meaning it all comes down to the Blue Lockers of who is going to be the one to score the goal. This final goal will be the determining factor as to who will come out on top, and the story has been written in a way that neither player truly has an advantage over the other anymore. This is why these final chapters are a make or break for Isagi and his goal of becoming number 1 in Blue Lock. But that was simply my explanation as to why Isagi's newest evolution wasn't useless and how it will lead Isagi to becoming number 1 in Blue Lock at the end of the new Egoist League. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video because it was a ton of fun to make. If you guys want me to make more manga related videos, leave me your suggestions down below. Also, because you guys had asked for my 5K subscriber special video, I will be revealing some teaser information about the Blue Lock New World film. This will include some character designs as well as a short teaser clip from the film itself. This project has been incredibly insane for myself and my team as we are working tirelessly to create a product that you guys will enjoy. The video will hopefully release in about a week or so please stay tuned for that. Especially because of the information I provide you will set the precedent as for what you guys can be expecting. We are also still looking for some animators and background artists to help on this project, so if you are interested, please reach out to me through any of the socials listed in the description. And if you would like to help donate to this film in order to allow me to pay my team more for their hard work and potentially get more fluid and intense scenes, you can do so by leaving a super chat on this video with the tagline of New Gen 11 movie. And by donating, your name will be placed in the credits of the film as a contributor to the project. And if you end up donating $25 or more and you are a part of the Discord, you will get access to information before anyone else, as well as get a special role in the server. We appreciate all of the donations that you guys send us, but please do not feel obligated to donate. All we can ask for is your continued support. Aside from that, for the question of the video, who do you think will score the final goal of the NEL? Leave me your thoughts down below in the comments section. And like always, thank you all for watching, like and subscribe to see more awesome Blue Lock content just like this.